Blessings, how's it going, man? It's your boy TopAngel with the RichSoul podcast. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode. I want to take this opportunity, you know what I mean, to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors, RichSoul Foods right now, and the Sweet Bay Leaf Tea. Sweet Bay Leaf Tea is good for circulation. I feel like lately, just been having trouble waking up my arms, waking up my legs in the morning. You know, sometimes when I'm sitting down, I don't know if maybe you experience this, but you know, if you sit down too long, your feet might fall asleep, or if you sit in one position too long, you know, you might have, legs falling asleep, and just to re-stimulate that circulation, so I'm not waiting so long for my body to wake back up. I've been on the Sweet Bay Leaf, I would say for about 2 weeks now, consistently. Definitely see a big change in that. I love the potent smell of it. The smell of it by itself will clear you up. So that's definitely something that I'm gonna be sipping on today. So make sure you guys go check out us at RichSoulFoods.com. Use the code 444 for your teas and any other goods that you might need when it comes to your healing. All right, definitely. So shout out to RichSoul Foods for that. Today I want to come through and check, and just talk about a winning mindset and really what it takes to be a winner. I think that there are some times where winning kind of gets, it never gets broken down enough. A lot of people talk about winning and being able to win, or they don't like the fact that they're taking L's, but don't really understand the mechanics of winning and the discipline itself of winning, and what kind of change and self-accountability it takes to be a winner, you know what I mean? So, of course, everybody likes to win, right? I think we have to be taught how to be winners, but at the end of the day, being a champion is in the heart. Being a winner is in the heart. You have to want it, and we can't really want to win for someone more than they want to win for themselves. So that's another thing too that can go wrong. So just to break that down, it's like, look, sometimes you have people around you that you really want to win, and let's just talk about the givers for a second, the people that are giving the energy to try to support, the people around them and build them up and to be winners, because sometimes that can be draining, correct? So when you're giving your energy to other people and trying to build them up into being winners, it can be draining because you're not actually practicing winning yourself. What you're doing is you're maintaining and building, so that's different. You're not practicing the winning habits yourself, so you may become drained, and you might even see your game slip a little bit. You might slip up, on what you've been focused on, just because you're so focused on giving your energy to the others around you to try to help them win. It's all good to be there for our loved ones, as far as like helping them be in a better position, or a better position them, to where they can capitalize on whatever opportunity might be amongst them. But at the end of the day, the want has to come from within, the want to win has to come from within, and I think it takes extreme focus when we're talking about being a winner. When we're talking about being a winner, we're talking about extreme focus. Like, you don't have time, you don't have room for, what ifs in your mind. I feel like, when it comes to winning, a lot of us we're so-called focused on winning, but then we have all these other contradicting ideas in our brains, which are the what ifs, which just those thoughts and the energy of those thoughts alone can push you farther away from your goal, can push you farther away from the destination of winning, It can put space between you and that winning attitude that's necessary, because winning is in the attitude first, off and foremost, right? And the attitude is a direct reflection of the person within, or what that person is going through, A person's attitude reflects, how they're experiencing life, or what they're experiencing, and they tend to share, people tend to share their experiences through their attitude, Some people have that ability to have a great attitude even in the midst of, adversity. Other people's attitudes are very poor, when faced with adversity or any type of resistance. And the attitude and how you approach, the situation is ultimately going to be the outcome of how things pan out. So if you can stay focused, on the positive, on the actual, mechanics of winning, on what it's going to take to win, rather than letting the anxieties of what if creep into your mind, like, oh, well, what if this goes wrong, or what if this person doesn't show up, or, what if I don't have enough money, and those type of thoughts, rather than just, taking one day at a time, taking one thing at a time, with the right attitude, and approaching, whatever obstacle, whatever situation you're in with that winning attitude, so it just takes that extreme focus to stay locked in, like when you're facing another great team, because you gotta look at this like in life, if you're competitive like I am, I'm very competitive, so I try to relate everything to sports, and I know that doesn't help for everyone, but the sake of competition, like wanting to compete with yourself, wanting to compete with others, and just understanding what competition is very, very vital, and especially when it comes to being a winner. You have to understand what it's like to compete. You have to understand what it's like to compete from an honorable place within yourself, which is going to allow you to give respect, to those around you, and give off the correct attitude. And with that attitude, you can possibly fuel the people around you, to look at life different, like just depending on your attitude and how you approach the situation, whether, it's a solo situation or whether it's a team situation. So let's break it down to the solo situation. Like if your attitude is poor, that's the energy that you're carrying with you. So 9 times out of 10, whatever you're touching or whatever you're interacting with is going to feed off the energy that you're fueling it with, right? So it all starts with you. It all starts within, when we're talking about winning, when we're talking about winning, when we're talking about the process of that, that's all starting within, like when it starts with you, like there's absolutely no other starting point. And I have to drive that home because, I feel that I hear a lot of excuses, when things don't go our way, not just, from people around me, but just in general, like I hear a lot of excuses, a lot of finger pointing, when it comes to things not going our way, when it comes to winning or competing, and then at the end of the day, it's just like sometimes you just have to admit like I wasn't prepared, or my attitude wasn't right, or how I was looking, my point of view may have needed to be adjusted. Because sometimes you may have lost just because you looked at things the wrong way. You may have lost out on an opportunity just because you missed out on one small detail. So it's definitely beneficial to be open-minded when it comes to approaching winning and making that a consistent energy in your life. Because winning isn't energy, winning isn't attitude, it is a spirit, that you have to embrace. A lot of us don't understand that, like winning isn't some abstract thing that comes to you by luck. Winning it comes through residual practice. Being able to practice that attitude, that energy, that aura of being a winner, that's a daily practice. So when we're building people up around us, like I was saying before, sometimes we fall out of practice because we're too busy building those around us up to be winners, And sometimes those people might not even understand what you're really trying to give them. So it's really taking that out of you because you're trying to build them. Now, that's when it comes to team building, So being a winner is understanding that it's all bigger than you, but it starts with you. You get what I'm saying? And that's something that it's very hard for us to grasp in wholeness, because it's like, well, if it's bigger than me, then how does it start with me? Because like you're the starting point. Everything you are the start of engagement. You are the start of interaction. Everything starts with you. Before you interact or engage with anything, you have a choice on how you're going to approach this situation. And that's something that I definitely want us to be able to just stay locked in with. Understanding that, winning doesn't come easy. It's not one of those things where we have that just comes to us and, it's going to keep coming to us. It's like you can kind of associate winning with money. Like you're not just going to wake up and have money. One day you have to have good habits, in order to build that savings, right? Because you can have $10, And this is all part of being a winner and having a winning attitude and understanding how to use opportunity when it comes. Like you can have $10. Like a winner is going to be like, okay, yeah, like they're going to figure out how to use what they're getting, even if they're only getting paid $50 a week. A winner is going to figure out how to maximize what they're doing. Okay, $50 a week, I can do X, Y, Z. And mind you, I'm just using rough numbers. I'm not saying this to be literal, but it is to paint out the example of, you know, working with what you have, you know, and that's part of being a winner, working with what you have, making do with what you have, you know, and not all of us will have, you know, the opportunity that the next man has, but that's not our life. You know what I'm saying? His experience isn't our experience, you know what I mean? So our wins aren't gonna be his wins or her wins, you know what I'm saying? Our losses aren't gonna be their losses. So, you know, like everybody's coming in with, you know, that different energy, you know, depending on how they interact with their own worlds and their own selves, you know, because that's what it comes down to, you know. How does this person, how do you view yourself? You know what I mean? What kind of respect do you have for yourself? Like, do you have the respect for yourself to put yourself in a winning regiment on a daily basis? You know what I mean? Being able to have that daily practice of being a winner, like that's what it takes. You know, these are things, it's like muscle memory. It's not something that's just given. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's not anything by luck. It's definitely not, you know, up for chance, you know what I'm saying, like a lottery or anything. It's definitely something that you put work into and you can make consistent as long as you're practicing it throughout your days. And I feel like there's a couple of ways to do that, you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like we're so quick to reject things that we're not used to, right? So it's like, you know, we might hear something, you know, that might be uncomfortable and we're just quick to be like, no, fuck that, you know? And, you know, in that situation, it's like, okay, boom, like, you may have written off the answer. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like, you know, I was so pissed off. I'll give an example. I was so pissed off maybe about a week ago, right before a game. And I realized that I didn't have my wallet. And I was like, where's my wallet? You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping. And I was with one of my boys. So it was like, I was trying to hold my cool, but, you know, I was losing that winning energy about myself. And it was to the point where even he felt it. He was just like, yo, man, what's going on? Because I was losing composure. I lost patience. I was losing patience. So it's like I was throwing all my discipline out the window. You know what I mean? Like, where's my shit? And then I began to panic, you know, and my anxiety was through the roof because it's like, we all know what it's like to lose a wallet. Like now we got to go cancel all our cards. You know, we got to go get our license back. You know what I mean? We're thinking about X, Y, Z, all the stuff that we have to do. And that's bringing anxiety, taking me away from my discipline, taking me away from my winning ways, you know, because I'm so caught up in the what ifs. You know what I mean? I'm so caught up in the what ifs. And then he was just like, oh man, didn't you say you went and had ice cream yesterday? And I was like, yeah. He was like, didn't you could have left it yesterday. And mind you, this is a whole 24 hours. So I'm just like, man, fuck that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, bro. Like, and if it's there, somebody took it already. You know what I mean? And it was just a horrible attitude. You know what I'm saying? My attitude about it was horrible, but you know, I was around somebody at the time who had a winning attitude. He was like, man, maybe it's there, bro. Give it a call. Because at the end of the day, it's like a winning attitude is just like, oh, we tried, like, you know, it's like, we tried this already. Fuck that, I don't want to do that again. It didn't work last time versus, hey, it might work this time. They might not be expecting that. You know what I mean? And in this situation, it was just like, you know, I was just like, you know, it's been a whole 24 hours, man. I probably had a few $100s in the wallet along with, you know, my cards, and boom, you know, I'm going through the house, I'm pissed off, and I'm just like, fuck it, I might as well call and see what's up. So I call, and boom, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, is this such and such? I'm like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, you left it yesterday, sister. So now, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there, now my mood is back, and I'm looking in, I'm like, that very thing that I wrote off, like, because as soon as he told me, I was like, man, that's out. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't even trying to hear it. And little did I know, you know what I'm saying, it was the solution right there in front of me. And, you know, that example is one thing that I'm just trying to use is like sometimes we can just get caught up in our own shit. We get caught up in our own emotions, you know, and get caught up in how we feel about things, and that has nothing to do with winning. You know what I'm saying? Like how we feel sometimes has absolutely nothing to do with winning. You know what I mean? Like, you know, as humans, we get so attached to how we feel, and I say this shit all the time, but it's just like, you know, like we get so attached to how we feel to where we actually lose sight of ourselves, you know what I mean? And that's also also think, because we are not our feelings. You know what I mean? So that's another thing, you know what I mean? Like, you get so attached to that, like, so 9 times out of 10, the feelings that are coming across aren't even yours. You know what I mean? Like, you might be picking up on somebody else's energy. You know, you might really be picking up on stuff like that, you know, where it's like, you know, you haven't taken the time to sort that out within yourself. So that's definitely something that, you know, like, I like to keep in mind. And when I'm delivering these type of messages, you know what I mean, I try to really deliver it with wholeness, you know, like, to my folks, because I really believe, you know, in that practice of winning, you know what I'm saying, on a daily basis. And just, you know, also environment, man, I say it all the time, you got to put yourself in a situation, you know, in a place where winning is going to be, you know, it's going to be implemented, it's going to be encouraged, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, if you're in a place, like, for instance, like, if you're around people who don't know what winning is like, you know what I mean? Like, because wanting to win and being a winner are two totally different things. You can be on a team full of people that want to win, but they don't know how, they don't practice. And, you know, it really just might take somebody to come into that situation and really teach winning, you know, as a basic mindset and the basic mechanics of winning, to be able to help change the culture. But even that takes time, or you just may have to remove yourself and go to a whole situation where, you know, that winning attitude, that winning culture is practiced on a daily, you know what I'm saying, from the top of the organization all the way down to the bottom of the organization. And, you know, and those are just the type of energies that definitely will encourage you to stay on a platform, you know what I'm saying, to stay on a level within yourself, you know. And, you know, you want to be able to apply pressure to yourself, you know, you want to be able to apply pressure to change, you know, you want to be able to apply pressure, you know, to your own discipline. Like, you know, like, I have to do this, you know, like, putting yourself in a position where it's like, you know, I can't really go backwards, you know what I mean, from here. And that's one thing that, you know, I want us to really stay in tune with, you know, because when it comes to being a winner, you can't lose sight of that. You know, you can't lose sight of winning. You can't, on what it takes to win, and what it takes to win is different in every situation. So, you know, it might not be the same. You know, what it takes to win today might not be what it takes tomorrow. That's the hard thing about winning. It's like, in order to win and to be continuous and consistent at winning, you got to stay ahead of the curve. You got to stay on the curve. You know what I mean? Because what it takes to win changes day to day. You know what I'm saying? Our world changes day to day. You know, people change day to day. You know, like, the competition adjusts to you every day. You know what I mean? You know, like, you gotta just look at it. It's like, you know, before it was like they, just to get a regular job, it's like, okay, they just wanted high school diplomas, and then all of a sudden they wanted college diplomas. You know, and then nobody had a high school diploma, then nobody had a college diploma, and then all of a sudden everybody had one. You know what I mean? So now the requirements of getting certain jobs have, like, even gone up. It's become more competitive. You know, and I'm just using that as an analogy, you know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you to go get a job or nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, these things, you know, change day to day, you know, no matter what our situation is, you know, like you might be the best player in the league. You might be the best player in the league this year. You know what I mean? And next season, it just might not be that way. And it's cool because it's like, if it's not that way, let's just say somebody else comes into the league and they're challenging, you know what I'm saying? They're challenging that spot, you know, like, in order for you to stay on top, now you got to readjust your game. You know, you can do everything, but the thing is, you still got to do everything you was doing before. Now you got to add more to it now, you know, and I think that's one thing that people don't like to do. People get comfortable in their regiment. People get comfortable in what they're doing, and they don't want to change that. And, you know, not wanting to change that is what's going to hurt your chances, you know what I'm saying? It's what's going to hurt your probability of winning, because you didn't want to adjust. You know what I mean? Like, what is your flexibility like to adjust? You know, can you adjust? You know what I mean? Like, on the fly, in game, you know, on the court, you know what I mean? In life, like, can you adjust in the moment? Adjust your attitude to realize that this shit is bigger than you, you know, and that's what it takes to win, just understanding that shit is bigger than you. You know what I mean? Sometimes we lose just because all we was caring about was ourselves at the time. So, you know, we threw the whole game away just because we wanted to satisfy a very selfish need, you know what I'm saying? Or we wanted to selfishly fulfill a void, you know what I'm saying, that we were looking to feel. It actually didn't do anything. It didn't contribute to winning at all. It just helped you feel better. Now, those are two totally different things as well. So that's what I mean. Like, you know, we have to understand what winning is, you know, versus surviving. You know, we have to understand what winning is, you know, versus just getting by. You know what I mean? Like what true winning is and how to break that down. It's practice, you know, and it takes practice. Being a winner is not something that happens overnight. Being a winner is something that is earned, you know, and it's almost like you earning it from yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're always the hardest person to please, you know, like when it comes to, you know, ourselves, we are always the hardest person to please. You know what I mean? So to keep ourselves happy, you know what I mean? Sometimes we settle for like the short-term wins, right? Sometimes the short-term wins don't contribute to long-term winning. You know what I mean? Like you might take the short battle, like for instance, like, you know, you hear that one saying, you know, we won the battle, but not the war. Or we lost the battle, but not the war. And it's just like, you know, pick your battles inside of the war, right? You know, and sometimes, you know, you're losing battles, you know what I mean? Or you might be winning the battles, but ultimately end up losing the war. You know, just because you were so focused on battle to battle, not really understanding the whole strategy around the whole war. You know what I mean? You're so caught up in each battle, you know what I'm saying? So come back, don't be so attached to each battle that you're taking on in life. Kind of just step back from every situation and just view it, you know, and then just, you know, try to have that attitude adjustment on what it would take to actually be a winner in that situation, you know? So that's something that, you know, I want us to really just stay honed in on when it comes to winning, and hold ourselves accountable for when it comes to winning. You know, just that daily practice is something that we need. And don't forget that daily practice is daily work, you know, being a winner, daily work, you know, and you get to see that consistency build over time, you know, as that muscle memory, that spiritual memory, you know what I'm saying, is being implemented in your universe, correct? So, you know, as long as you're building your universe with that positive attitude, you know what I'm saying, you basic off of being a true winner, I don't see how you could fail. You know what I mean? Just understand that winning is a very unselfish act. You know what I mean? And once we truly understand that, you know, winning becomes inevitable. You know what I mean? Because winning benefits everyone. So, you know, I want to say thanks for coming through. This is your boy TopAngel with the RichSoul podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel right here below. You know what I mean? Follow me on our Instagrams, our TikToks to be able to stay in on what we want to do. And if you want to listen to the audio version of what we've got going on, we're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. So go ahead and check us out there. Peace and blessings to everybody, man. It's your boy TopAngel with RichSoul, signing out. Holla.